I played it smart. I was with a friend, and when he came back the second time, actually, before he came to the bathroom, I had already laid on top of the toilet seat with my feet up, and my foot pressured against the stall door, the entry. And lucky that when he came in, he came in a hurry shot. I'm sure he didn't see any feet in my stall, so he didn't make an effort to push or figure out, if anybody was in there. That's how I was able to get away with an hour and a half without him knowing that I was in there and recording, the conversation. I pressed my record button just in case I did get killed, they have something to go on, a voice or something, if he escaped, so I wasn't able to really video record it, but at least the sounds was there. When he first came in, he shot. He left. I tried calling 911, but it wouldn't go through. It seemed like when lines are busy, too many phone calls, it was just overloaded, it just wouldn't allow the call to go through. So I text both my managers, we're in the Adonis restroom, female restroom with the gunman, and call the cops, So I texted that to both my managers. And everybody on the other side was probably calling the police or calling family members. Even my friend that was with me was calling her mother, trying to explain to her, like I said, we were on top of the toilet seat with our feet up. And then he came back within 10 minutes, and then he came in and he heard people talking or texting one night, and he said in a nice, gracious, polite way, "Please do not text." And I said, "My God, who is this? Somebody coming in here shooting, and then you want to ask nicely, please do not text?" I was boggling my mind. I'm like, what? How could somebody come in here shooting and then you want to act politely?
Yeah.
So, like I said, this is all before knowing him being a terrorist. We were just trying to figure it out ourselves, in our mind. But like I said, when he was out there, I was telling everybody, shh, quiet, shh, keep it down, in case the guy wants to make rounds again, and if you don't hear anything, maybe he'll just walk right back out the bathroom, figured he killed whoever he shot into that stall. So they heard me on the other side. I was telling them, quiet, keep it down, keep it quiet, telling everybody on the other side. I was unaware how many people were in the other stall, but I knew, there were just people talking and whatnot, and there were people breathing hard, moaning, because they were already shot. And, like I said, when he finally came back in, he asked, "Please do not text." Then he got on the phone, and we all thought he was dialing 911, but then we found that later on, I think he had called the news media and tried to, get his message across. And then when he mentioned that, they asked him questions he didn't want to answer. He just repeated, he just wants America to stop bombing ISIS in Syria. So nothing led us to believe that he was in there for any racial prejudice of anything against gays or, until that moment that he had asked if anybody was black back there. And knowing that I was Latino, my friend was Latina, we're Puerto Ricans. And I wasn't going to blow my cover as he was still unaware that we were sitting on top of the toilet bowl, And I was going to say, you like Puerto Ricans? Then I started thinking, well, if I say that, he's in here for Latin night. He might have something personal against a Latin.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was his whole purpose, to kill the Latins, or when someone said, when he had mentioned, he has nothing against black people, because when that person answered, and if he said he had nothing against black people, and that's why I said I was going to say he had everything in Puerto Rican, but I wasn't going to take a chance.
Yeah.
I just said, so far my cover is good. He's unaware I'm in there. Let me just stay quiet. That's all. I just stood quiet, and recording everything. And then, like I said, he got on the phone and letting him know that, he's there with 3 other gunmen, and then there was 2 other snipers out there in case the cops arrive and this and that, And then from there, his conversation ended. Then he was trying to unjam his gun, and someone mentioned, his gun is jammed, and he was cocking it, hearing the gun shells, the bullet shells falling to the ground. I don't know, that was a sign of like, let's jump out and jump him now, his gun is jammed. Yeah. But we're all still in the blind, not knowing how many weapons he had.
Or how many gunmen there were.
Yeah, we were unaware of it. So no, everybody just stood frozen. Nobody made an effort to be the hero, to jump out the stalls and jump him if that was the case. He finally got it fixed. He said, "Yeah, I got it fixed." And then he said he got plenty of bullets. So I don't know if that was something to stipulate to put a scare on us. And also, like I said, when he was talking to that one person on the phone, that she had a bomb vest and he had a bomb vest. So apparently we found out afterwards they never had a bomb vest. But I don't know if that was a scare for us to stay put. Not me, because he was unaware I was still, in it, but the others that he knew there was others living, alive in the other stall. Now he walked around and he touched me in my left rear pocket. He touched me. I didn't budge or move. I didn't want to show him that I was alive. I just let him touch me. But I looked at my friend. We were facing each other. I was on one side of the toilet bowl and she was in the other. And I gave this big, and there wasn't a smile. It was like, oh my God, because I'm feeling him, touching me back there. And he proceeded to wash his hands, use the dryer on the wall, And, I was expecting to get shot in my back. Now that my back is visible now, I was expecting to get shot, But thank God that never happened. Thank God. So we were hearing the cops on the other side working their way in, screaming, anybody in here, any gunman in here, or anybody alive, put their hands up in the air. He hears it. I'm sure if I hear it, he hears it. We hear it clearly on the other side. So, and I'm hearing the cops, in the other side, and they're getting a little closer. I'm glad they're getting closer, but I'm hearing them talking out there. I'm thinking, they forgot to check the bathrooms to make a clean sweep. But I think they were busy trying to pull out any possible live bodies that were breathing or moving, or checking everybody to see if they were worth moving. If they were dead, there's no sense in moving their bodies. I just think they had a lot on their hands on the other side just to get them out as soon as possible. And I'm sure they were aware he must have been somewhere on the other side of the building, which was in our restroom. So I'm hearing, and I'm like, when are they going to make an effort to come to get us? And it seemed like forever still, Then all of a sudden, my phone starts ringing, and I'm like, oh my God, friends are finally calling me. And he's supposedly collected everybody's phone. Now my phone starts ringing from messenger to regular phone. I'm like, oh my God. I kind of grabbed my phone a little bit. Look, I saw one of my friends' name. And I'm like, please do not call no more. Because I figured what he was going to do, knowing that the cops were in on the other side, that if they would hear the phone, it would give them a sign of somebody must be dead, or somebody's on the end, their phone is ringing at the other end in that bathroom. I thought he was going to try to open up the stall door and make an effort to retrieve the phone to shut it up. And then he would discover us alive and he would have shot us right there laying on the floor. So thank God he never made an effort to retrieve the phone. Thank God the phone calls stopped ringing. And then after that, we heard this huge explosion that rocked the bathroom.